है मैं सेल्फ R.Bhushan। नमस्कार मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, मेरे प्यारे भाइयों और बहनों। Good evening, Honourable Prime Minister ji. This is the program for you and for the people of our nation. It will cover your per day efforts for the betterment of the nation and suggestion for you so that we can make this country more glorious in the whole world. This photograph I have taken from the Morning Standard newspaper, Explore. I am showing you the fruits. It's a beautiful fruit and a very nutritious fruit, avocado. Avocado, rise up the superfood avocado. As US President Donald Trump threatens to close the southern borders, avocado prices have surged in almost a decade. According to a study, Americans consume more fresh avocados per capita each year than they do peaches, plums, prunes, and nectarines combined. We take a look at why Trump's wall led to the increase in the prices of the avocados and the health benefits of this superfood that makes it one of the most sought after fruit. 400 calorie content of the large avocado. 400 calorie. 400 calorie. Avocados can be eaten in various ways, from the soup to juice, or a layer on your toast or salad, or just a regular smooth. Avocado can replace butter in cooking owing to its greasy nature. It's a beautiful fruit. It's very nutritious. 400 calorie. 400 calorie. The most important news of today's are a ladder nut crutch. Using behavioral science in the design of cash transfer can make them more effective in the fight against poverty. There are many legitimate questions about the Congress Newton A. Yojana scheme, which promises to transfer 72,000 LOD to 28% of family in the poorest of the poor category. But the fundamental soundness of the idea should not be in doubt. Evidence from the dozen of cash transfer programs around the world speaks resoundingly in favor of such schemes as a tool of sustainable poverty alleviation. In fact, ideas from behavioral economics are increasingly being used to magnify the already positive effect of the doing cash. Morocco MIT economist Esther Duflo and her colleagues found that simply labeling a cash transfer as an education transfer can push up school and participation. South Korea first to roll out 5G services, beating US and China. Technology expected to change the landscape of the gaming industry. South Korea will become the first country to commercially launch fifth generation 5G services on Friday as it rolls out the latest wireless technology with Samsung Electronics new 5G enabled smartphone Galaxy S10 with one of the world's top smartphone penetrations rate. South Korea is in race with China, the United States, and Japan to market 5G, hoping the technology will spur breakthrough in the fields such as the smart cities and autonomous car, and drive up its economic growth that slowed to a 6-year low in 2018. 113 million suffered from the acute hunger in 2018. More than 113 people across 53 countries experienced acute hunger last year, with the conflict, climate-related disaster, and economic turbulence mainly driving the food insecurity crisis, according to a joint UN and EU report. These 6 countries accounted for nearly 2/3 of the total number of people facing acute food insecurity. Number one, Central. Be careful, it's very fine knowledge information. Number one, Central African Republic CAR. Consecutive years of the reduced harvest and dip in purchasing power have led to the decrease in the food production. Conflict and insecurity, climate shocks, and economic turbulence were the main drivers of food security and continued to erode livelihoods of the people. Conflict and insecurity remained the key driver of acute hunger and food insecurity during last year. 74 million people, 2/3 of those facing acute hunger were located in 21 countries and territories affected the conflict. Climate and natural disaster pushed 29 million people acute food insecurity in 2018. Afghanistan, third point. Congo, second. 13.1 million people are severely food insecure across 101 of the countries 145. Third, Afghanistan. 4 out of 5 people in Afghanistan rely on agriculture for their food and income, but decades of conflict, drought, poverty, inadequate infrastructure make it difficult for many to provide for themselves. Fourth, Syria. 50% of the Syrian households have reduced the number of the daily meals, and more than 30% have restricted the consumption of adult to prioritize children. Fifth, Yemen. More than 20 million Yemens are food insecure, including nearly 10 million people who are in the brink of the famine and starvation. And sixth is South Sudan. Food shortage, climate shocks, and deepening economic crisis, insecurity, insufficient agricultural production at the household level have kept levels of hunger and acute malnutrition alarmingly high. The next most important fact is climate change blight. Climate change blights children's lives in Bangladesh. Climate change blights children's lives in Bangladesh. Around 12 million of them live in and around rivers that regularly burst their banks, and another 4.5 million in coastal area regularly struck of the cyclones. Environmental disaster linked to a climate change are threatening the lives of over 19 million children in Bangladesh, prompting many families to push their daughters into child marriage, UNICEF said on Friday. Climate change is deepening the environmental threat faced by families in Bangladesh. Poorest communities leave them unable to keep their children properly household, fed, healthy and educated, UNICEF said in report. In Bangladesh and around the world, climate change has the potential to reverse many of the gains that countries have achieved in child survived and development. Around 12 million children in and around the river system that regularly burst their banks, the report said. Another 4.5 million children live in coastal areas regularly struck by powerful cyclones, including almost 500,000 Rohingya refugee children from the neighboring Myanmar living in the fragile bamboo and plastic shelters. A further 3 million children live further inland where farming communities suffer increasing periods of the drought. Bangladesh flat topography, dense population, and weak infrastructure have long made it vulnerable to extreme weather events, but experts say that these have become more frequent in recent years as global temperature have risen. Extreme bad condition of Bangladeshi people. Soon, first photo of black hole. Scientists will unveil the picture at 6th Global News Conference on Wednesday. Scientists are expected to unveil on Wednesday the first ever photograph of black hole, a breakthrough in astrophysics, providing insight the celestial monster with a gravitational field so intense no matter a light can escape. The U.S. National Science Foundation has scheduled a news conference on Washington to announce a groundbreaking result from the Event Horizon Telescope (EST) project, an international partnership formed in 2012 to try to directly observe the immediate environment of black hole. Simultaneous news conferences are scheduled in Brussels, Santiago, Shanghai, Taipei, and Tokyo. A black hole event horizon, one of the most violent places in the universe, is the point to no return beyond which anything, stars, planet, gas, dust, all forms of electromagnetic radiation, including light, gets sucked in irretrievably. The next most important news from the drinking water. Moderate drinking may not be good for health. Moderate drinking may not be good for health. Story. Blood pressure and stroke rise steadily the more alcohol people drink, and previous claims that 1 or 2 drinks a day might protect against a stroke are not true, accordingly to the results of the major genetic study. The research, which used data from the 160,000 strong cohort of Chinese adults, many of whom were unable to drink alcohol due to genetic intolerance, found that people who drink moderately, consume 10 to 20 gram of alcohol a day raise their risk of stroke by 10 to 15%. For heavy drinkers, consuming 4 or more drinks a day, blood pressure rises significantly and the risk of stroke increases by around 35%, to the study found. The key message here is that, at least for stroke, there is no protective effect of moderate drinking, said Jamming Chen, a professor of Oxford University. So this is my humble request to all of you. Please stop drinking. Thank you so much to watch my program. Wish you all the best. Good luck.